Ukraine has been battered by drone and missile strikes in one of the largest Russian assaults since the war started. It comes as US President Donald Trump prepares to lead a meeting between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin. But any progress could be under threat as Russia backs away from Western security guarantees for Ukraine. Isabel Musali reports.
As workers begin to sweep up the rubble in western Ukraine, the extent of the damage is becoming clear.
After
the last attack, a crack appeared in our residential building. It may get collapsed, but if there are more attacks, it will definitely collapse.
Russia launched around 570 drones and 40 ballistic and cruise missiles into western and eastern Ukraine overnight. President Volodymyr Zelensky says the attack, which also targeted a US-owned factory, shows Russia isn't serious about peace negotiations, which are being led by the US.
In Mukachevo, the Russians burnt down a factory, an American factory, by the way, a manufacturer of electrical appliances. And they were household appliances, nothing military. The Russians knew perfectly well what they were aiming at. It was a missile strike, and we believe it was a deliberate attack on American property here in Ukraine, on American investment. It's a very telling strike, one of many across the country, at the very time the entire world is waiting for a clear answer from the Russians on negotiations to end the war.
It comes after military chiefs from Europe and the United States met with their national security advisors in Washington, D.C., to present options for security guarantees to Ukraine. But Russia's Foreign Minister, Sergei Lavrov, called any deployment of European troops to Ukraine a foreign intervention and unacceptable.
The President has said more than once that we're ready to work in any format, with the understanding that the work will be honest and won't be limited to attempts, as European leaders do, to create conditions for once again dragging the United States into its aggressive, belligerent campaign to preserve and even strengthen Ukraine as an instrument to contain Russia.
Russia currently occupies around 20% of Ukraine and is asking Ukraine to hand over several regions in any peace deal. Speaking to US media, Finland's President Alexander Stubb put those demands in perspective.
I guess for an American audience, and having studied in the US for many years, the best way to explain it is that if you take the relative landmass of what Russia wants right now from Ukraine, it would be a little bit like you giving up Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, even Virginia, and then bumping into Maryland. So in that sense, we're talking about a substantive amount of territory.
Back in Australia, the Ukrainian diaspora is preparing to celebrate 34 years of independence this weekend. Kateryna Argyrou is the chair of the Australian Federation of Ukrainian Organisations. She's just returned from Ukraine.
While I was there, Ukraine was under daily bomb attacks. I heard and saw ballistic missiles explode. There were drone attacks every single night. The time that I was in Kiev, it was the largest drone attack ever that Russia launched on Ukraine. The whole city was ablaze. We were recommended not to go outside and not to even open windows the next day. So I can tell you it's absolutely horrendous, and this is something that people experience every single day in Ukraine.
She says while words of support are appreciated, Ukraine needs more from the international community.
Because the only thing that will help our families survive is if they have the tools to defend themselves. So that is the most important thing, and that's why we keep advocating for that aid. And we're trying to get the message across that it's an absolutely dire situation right now. It's literally a matter of life and death. And I don't think that everyone realizes really how much despair and trauma exists in Ukraine right now, and that people are literally just being slaughtered, and they will not survive if they don't get the physical aid to help them fight.
A date for the trilateral talks is yet to be announced.